Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and also yesterday, although slightly less anticipated than the previous song, we had an announcement from a country where no matter what I call them, I'm sure someone's going to get annoyed, so hey, let's play everyone's favourite game, Who is Tess going to irritate today? Well, I'm going to call the country the Republic of Czechia and just call that a happy little middle ground. Fear not, I do have versions of my video thumbnails and all the other graphics that say Czechia as opposed to the Czech Republic, but I'm going to keep calling it the Czech Republic until such a time that the EBU changes the name on the Eurovision website. Long story short, I'm calling it what Eurovision calls it, because that seems like a fair enough way of doing things, so for now it's the Czech Republic, at some other point, Czechia, but that's just how I'm rolling for the moment. And the song, getting off that tangent, is Martina Bárta with My Turn, which is completely in English, as ever, doesn't need translating from me, as English language songs tend not to need, and I couldn't find very much information about the composers of this one. All I could see is a very small footnote on the Eurovision website attributing the writing of this song to DWB and Kyla Nico. I don't know who that refers to, and no other website has reported on this, so I don't know exactly who to credit here, but that's what it says on the Eurovision website, so that's all I can say. Now, first impressions of the actual song, if I can get that far without being sidetracked. Well, earlier this year, we were treated to a sneak preview of the song during a news programme on Czech television, and at that point, out of context, it sounded like it was going to be another boring ballad with like really heavy air quotes on all three of those words, in what the community was already starting to accuse of being a year full of ballads, because the fandom does like to bandwagon things like that. And as it turns out, neither of those things are true. The song is much livelier than I think most people gave it credit for in the first place, and in a really sweet sort of way. And it ends up standing out in a year that's actually more diverse than people want to think it is, but yeah, the song stands out against the actual other ballads, and the non-ballads. It's its own little thing, and I really do like that. We do get Eurovision entries like this from time to time, but I think it is something of an underrepresented genre just by weight of numbers, so it is nice to have something like this in the contest to show that it can still be done every now and then. So, if we dissect it a little further, what kind of points are we going to find under the surface? Well, for one, I like how professionally simple this song is. It's something of a sweet palate cleanser between heavier, more overproduced songs, or more sweeping, more brooding songs. I didn't think I'd ever get to use the term sorbet song again after 2015, but no, this song is exactly that. Yes, if you're new to my channel, I do compare the songs to food a lot of the time, and this song is sorbet. It's something that refreshes your mind between songs that are a bit more mentally taxing. But that's not to say that this is void of its own merits by any means. It's less demanding to the ear and to the mind compared to some other intense songs, because there are other songs this year where someone's written an entire essay across 3 comments under one of my videos telling me how, oh no, don't worry about the lyrics, just read between the lines. Yeah, whatever, pal. Thanks for sharing your passion. Anyway, getting back on topic, off the back of this song's simplicity, it generates a surprising amount of atmosphere, which is admirable considering that all they've got to work with in the foreground are Martina's voice and the piano. I mean, yeah, there are other instruments in there, but they don't take the main focus at any point in the song. But despite all that, it still creates a small, intimate world where Martina is able to convey her message simply and effectively. And, for that matter, I like what they've done with the message of the song too. With a title like My Turn, one might be led to expect something with a slightly more selfish message. Again, air quotes, not necessarily selfish, but self-centered, or at least self-empowering. You know, something like It's My Time from 2009, or Time to Shine from 2015. But no, despite expectations, it's a song about being there for someone who's usually strong for you, and being strong for them when they need support of their own, whether they realise it or not. And just like last year, the song was released just in time for International Women's Day, and that feels like a really fitting message to share on a day like today. That's really nice and comparatively uncommon, so absolute credit there, Czech Republic. And in terms not quite so coloured with social commentary, I like the genre itself. We've had a couple of songs this year so far that sound musical theatre-ish, and I would add this song to that list with the footnote that of the 3 songs that come to mind, this one has the most modern pop appeal of the 3, but at the same time it sounds like it's from a much more recent musical compared to the other 2, which are a bit more traditional. But that said, musical theatre and modern pop aren't mutually exclusive. You can do both, and this song does. It finds a really surprising, pleasant, enjoyable middle ground, and it sticks to that very well, to the point of, well, conveying its message in a really atmospheric but still really enjoyable way. I applaud that. Well, I would applaud that, but I've got one handful of microphone, but metaphorically, I applaud that. As for the other side of the coin, though, I suspect that this song's simplicity may be a cause for complaint for some people. Because it's so toned down and subtle, some people are probably going to find it boring. I don't personally, but it is one of those songs where I can tell some people are going to write it off immediately for not being excessively blustery or whatever. I will concede, though, and this is a point that I'm not too sure on. One could make the argument that the song's simplicity is almost a waste of potential as far as Martina's voice is concerned. I believe that the song is better the way it currently is, because this way, at the very least, she's less likely to overexert herself and negatively impact her voice and her performance in so doing. But I can see how some people might argue that she's got more power behind her voice than the song is going to let her showcase. I certainly would be interested in hearing what she sounds like at maximum power and maximum velocity and maximum everything. But this song doesn't need that, and forcing it in, I think, would do much more harm than good. And one last thing, I kind of want to address this point carefully because I feel like people have been really sensitive about what I've been saying at this point in the review for the past couple of days, but her diction isn't superb. But before anyone gets all offended and angry because, oh, why should she have to sing in English? You should be happy she's making the effort. Yeah, I am impressed at the level of it, because bearing in mind the Czech Republic, that's, Central Europe. Basically, anywhere east of England, you don't get countries that speak English natively. Well, I suppose you've got Malta, okay, fair point. But despite what the stereotypes might make you think, we in the UK don't expect other people to speak English. And yes, there is kind of a pervading thing within Eurovision where English language songs tend to do better, but that tends to be more because other people in other countries kind of have English as a common foreign language to them, in the same way that the national language of India is English because they have about 17 local languages and they find it easier to communicate through a mutually foreign one rather than everyone converging on a single language. So, I'm not saying she should have to sing in English by any means, and so the fact that she's performing this well in a language not native to her is absolutely to her credit. I'm just saying her accent and her diction might interfere with someone fully appreciating the meaning of the song, but by all means, I don't think she should have to become something she's not just for the sake of artificially broadening the reception of her song. It's just something to think about at any rate. It's just a thought experiment, and I think her accent's a bit cute anyway, so do whatever. Now, numbers. For my own personal private, well, not private because I'm sharing it with you, but my own personal score out of 10 for this one, I will give her, I think an 8. It's a deliciously atmospheric listen, with a refreshingly simple presentation, and that gets all of my respect and then some. I do also enjoy the presentation of the message, another point to this year's Eurovision lineup for having such diverse stories within its songs. My only problem with it is, it's not a song that I'd go out of my way to listen to regularly. Now and then, sure, but just not regularly. There's no concrete, valid reason behind all that, apart from just personal taste, but hey, that's what the personal subjective score is all about in this part of the review. As for the slightly less subjective, slightly more objective, how is the song structured kind of technical score, I'm going to say 9, because yeah, Martina and her team deserve so much credit for building up a world within the song that has so much mood and so much atmosphere and all of that good stuff, just using her voice and a piano and a small restrained amount of backing. Its restrained composition might not be to everyone's tastes, and I fully admit that shouldn't necessarily have to count against the song, because that's other people's fault, not the song's fault. But I will justify it here by saying that it doesn't have quite the same ability to encourage repeat listens as some other entries do, and thus it doesn't have quite the same broad initial appeal. It has initial appeal, but just not quite as wide as some other entries, perhaps. But hey, I mean, a 9 out of 10 is still a pretty damn good score, in my opinion. Now, when put face to face with last year's Czech entry, take another drink. This is absolutely no easy decision, but then again, when is it ever? As things currently stand, I'm personally more inclined to award my favour to Gabriella, though both songs do resonate with me in very positive ways. ultimately, my decision is based on I Stand being more accessible to more people in less time. It has slightly broader initial appeal, simply by being slightly less niche in terms of genre. I think that's the main thing here. But also, it has more of a capacity to showcase her abilities as a singer. Admittedly, that's not to say that My Turn does any of that badly or incorrectly, and of course, as I've said, giving Martina's voice too much emphasis would ruin the mood of the song. But at the end of the day, even now, I still completely remain blown away by Gabriella's performance last year, both in the studio and on the stage. For what it's worth, I would still rank My Turn higher than Hope Never Dies. Actually, thinking about it, I would rank My Turn as the second best Czech entry in Eurovision history ever, with only I Stand being like one place higher, and that's it. Though I must admit, Have Some Fun from 2008 is my personal favourite, but it does pale in comparison to the standard of their more recent entries, which Martina is absolutely maintaining. So, you know, I would say welcome back to the contest, Czechy-Roo, as I call you, but you've been back since 2015 and you've been doing a splendid job since then. But splendid or not, do I think we'll see the Czech Republic in the final this year? I really don't know. Helpful, I know, but I've seen some people quite adamant that it definitely will, and others quite insistent that it definitely won't. I find myself more inclined towards probably not, but with a side dish, bowl, spoon of because it will probably end up 11th or 12th, in my opinion. Of course, that is subject to change. We will see what happens, in the rehearsals and during the shows, and my opinion might just straight up change between now and the show. In reality, I think the juries will definitely appreciate how clever and subtle the song is, and that may also resonate with the public. But I don't know how that'll translate into points, particularly in the face of some of its direct competition in its semi-final. It's very nice, and it would be a lovely inclusion in the final, but nothing's carved in stone for this one just yet. Still, I will say, good luck, Czech Republic, or Czechia, or whatever you want me to call you. Keeping it classy as always, and I definitely respect that, so we'll see just how much it pays off for you when you get to Ukraine. Good luck.